Okay, I'm now out on Butte Trail. Takes off above the swampy. Looking back behind me is accessed flag line. So it's called flag line access. And then looking in this direction, that's the Vista Butte Trail that goes to the summit and ties into another trail that goes all the way up to Dutchman. But we're going to walk down this trail, Butte Trail. I shot some video of this a while back talking about alignment shifts. Mike Paulzone has come out and done some flagging, being very proactive. Thank you, Mike. And we're going to review that and take a look at it from a, is it okay or not kind of standpoint. Most of it walking up looked pretty good. Other sections pretty questionable. So anyway, just wanted to review that. Obviously, this is for Mike's feedback, but everyone else, definitely want everyone else involved in the education. I pointed this out before, but there's a big drain right here leading to a sump, and that's a good location for one. It could be definitely bigger, but it's serving right this very second. So as we walk down, this is one of the more eroded sections of mountain bike trail that we have, and it's got pretty good gradient to it for sure. And then part of it is we had a lot of water coming from up above. Vista Butte Trail proper didn't have any water management on it, and so all of that was funneling down and being part of this trail tread watershed. And this, had no water management, hasn't really had any effective water management for a long time. That combined with increased use, loosening soil, and our rains are kind of average or maybe slightly above average this year, and harder. We've had some pretty good hard rains, so we know we won't be getting rain for another long time, September, maybe October. So we're not going to have much more in the way of water-based erosion, but it's a good time to go out and take a look. So as you see, Mike's flag line picks up right here, pink flagging, nice tall pink flags. And you can sort of see the corridor down, so I would define in this case the corridor between this tree and this line of trees. So if we stay within that, I think we're more than fine. And most of this flagging, we're talking the big trees, not the little trees. And most of this flagging is fine. I mean, again, we certainly can move the trail up here to our right and drain into this as a linear sump. I like this jog around this big tree. It adds a little bit of interest and gets rid of the straight line. And that would be, semi sort of comfortable, but we may be considered to be slightly out of the current corridor. The corridor here would maybe be defined by this tree and this tree. So we could pull it here, still would give us an area to drain into the old trail as a linear sump. So that would be maybe one recommendation. We're good here for sure. Draining into the old trail tread. We're up above it, so it's going to be easy for us to drain into it. Here, flag line does go outside of this tree here, but I would argue that we're okay here as well. That's not really a major tree, and it certainly would benefit to move over into this right hand direction. We're going downhill, by the way. And you can see we're on higher ground. So again, very easy for us to drain into the old trail tread. Currently, the trail tread is the lowest point. And that's a problem, obviously, because it's just collecting all of that water from both sides. Still good here. You can see that there is one rolling dip down there that looks like it's semi-functional, but that's about it. It's just really hard to drain a trail when the trail is the lowest thing. So Mike has us going off, maybe 15 plus feet. we might want to move that a little bit closer. Here, the corridor is actually pretty wide. You know, again, we could move a little bit closer to trail tread. That would be a little bit better, just in terms of, you know, being able to straight face say that we stayed within the corridor. Obviously, you know, once new tread got established, old corridor or old trail would disappear pretty quickly. And again, most of this looks good. This is the worst place down here. You can see that it's really below grade and a new trail has formed to the right, and that's what happens. And this, we're getting towards the tail end of this. Not a very long section of trail at all. I would be a little less comfortable over in this zone where Mike has us currently going. That is, I think, outside of corridor. I think we would be better off down in this area here. I think that would be fine for sure. But you know, he's got us going around here to make a turn, and I like the turn. But you know, and you know, long term that would actually be better for sure. But it's, you know, it's harder to argue that that's not going to need, you know, some higher level of approval. So I think we would be better off, you know, being more in this area here, a little bit closer, you know, within that sort of 10 to 15 foot range of current trail, unless your corridor is a little bit wider. And then I would say that we could be right in here and then just cross over. His last flag is right down here. You may or may not be able to see that pink flagging. I would argue that there's more that needs to happen, and so we could come here and just cross over current trail and be in this area here, and that would improve and give for a more consistent rhythm. You know, so instead of coming back to old trail and sort of having to make a right hand turn, it would just flow nicely across. And then same thing, just continue being on this left side for a little ways. You know, we've got some pretty minor trees, but we're still well within the corridor. We could continue this effect on down. So instead of where trail currently is, we would be more about right here, and continue that on down. The rest of this is cupped, not as bad, but still pretty bad. So while we're solving one problem, might as well solve a longer problem. So I would like to see us doing more of it through here, and draining into the old trail as, again, our linear sump. You know, so as we build this, you know, we would want to make sure that, you know, we're adding drains in and not just moving the problem from, you know, here on the right over to the left, you know, by building new trail that doesn't, again, have any water management in it whatsoever. So we would want to build new tread and make sure that we've got good frequent drains, you know, every 50 feet or thereabouts. And those would drain into current trail tread as a linear sump.